On the night of May 3, 2007, in a quiet holiday resort along Portugal's Algarve coast, a 3-year-old girl vanished without a trace. Her name was Madeleine McCann. One moment, she was fast asleep in her family's apartment. Minutes later, she was gone, disappearing into the kind of nightmare every parent fears. A nightmare that would ignite one of the most famous missing child cases in modern history. The warm air of Praia da Luz that evening carried the sound of laughter and clinking glasses from holidaymakers enjoying their dinners. Among them were Kate and Jerry McCann, sitting with friends at the resort's tapas bar just a short walk from their apartment. It was meant to be a simple evening, parents taking turns to check on their children sleeping inside. But sometime between those checks, Madeleine vanished. A small window left open, the bed empty, a child gone. The first cries of panic echoed through the complex. "Madeleine's gone!" Kate screamed as she ran down the cobblestone path. Other guests would later remember her voice cutting through the night, shrill and desperate. What followed was a frantic search, neighbors sweeping through the streets with flashlights, resort staff combing the grounds, and police rushing to the scene. Yet despite immediate efforts, no trace of Madeleine was found. To understand how this disappearance became one of the most infamous mysteries in the world, we need to step back to the McCann family's holiday. Kate and Jerry, both British doctors, had traveled to Portugal with their 3 children, Madeleine, then 3, and her younger twin siblings. They were joined by several family friends, most of them with kids of their own. The group chose the Ocean Club Resort in Praia da Luz, known for its family-friendly atmosphere, with pools, kids' activities, and villas designed for holiday rentals. The days leading up to the disappearance were ordinary. Photographs from that week show Madeleine smiling at the pool, playing with her siblings, walking hand in hand with her parents. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary, though some witnesses later reported seeing unfamiliar people around the resort, men loitering, watching, possibly casing the area. These reports would later fuel theories of abduction by traffickers. On the evening of May 3, the group's routine unfolded as usual. Around 8:30 p.m., the adults gathered for dinner at the tapas bar within the resort. Their children were left asleep in their apartments. Rather than hiring babysitters, the parents took turns checking on the kids every half hour. It was during this routine that everything unraveled. At 9:05 p.m., Jerry McCann checked on the children. He found all 3 asleep. At 9:15, a family friend, Jane Tanner, walked past the McCann's apartment and noticed a man carrying a small child in pajamas, moving quickly across the street. She thought little of it at the time. At 9:30, another parent checked in. Still, everything seemed normal. But at 10 p.m., when Kate McCann entered the apartment, she discovered something chilling. The window in the children's room was open, the shutter raised. The twins lay sleeping undisturbed. Madeleine's bed, however, was empty. Kate's scream echoed into the night. The police response began quickly but soon revealed cracks. Local officers, unprepared for a case that would become international, failed to secure the scene. Neighbors and friends had already trampled through the apartment searching for Madeleine. Potential forensic evidence was contaminated, perhaps lost forever. As news spread, the disappearance exploded into global headlines. The image of Madeleine, blonde hair, big blue eyes, and a distinctive mark in her right iris was splashed across newspapers and television screens. Posters went up across Europe. Celebrities like David Beckham and J.K. Rowling joined in appeals. Even the Pope met with the McCanns, blessing a photograph of their daughter. The search for Madeleine was no longer a local effort. It had become a worldwide crusade. But with the spotlight came suspicion. Investigators initially focused on the possibility of an abduction, exploring leads that pointed to human trafficking networks known to operate across southern Europe. Witnesses reported seeing strange men in the area. Dogs brought in from the UK later alerted to the scent of blood and human cadaver in the McCann's apartment and rental car. Suddenly, suspicion turned inward. In September 2007, Portuguese police named Kate and Jerry McCann as official suspects arguidos. The theory was that Madeleine had died accidentally in the apartment and that her parents had covered it up. The McCanns vehemently denied any involvement, insisting their daughter had been abducted. The accusations, however, divided public opinion and cast a shadow over the investigation. Media frenzy amplified every rumor. Tabloids published sensational claims, some suggesting evidence of sedatives, others alleging inconsistencies in the parents' statements. The McCanns sued several outlets for libel, winning damages, but the suspicion lingered. Critics accused the Portuguese police of mishandling the case, while others questioned the McCanns' decision to leave their children unattended. Meanwhile, countless leads poured in. Sightings of Madeleine were reported in Spain, Morocco, Malta, and even as far away as India. None were substantiated. One infamous lead involved a man named Robert Murat, a British expat living nearby, who was briefly made a suspect after being seen near the resort on the night of the disappearance. He was later cleared. In 2011, under mounting pressure, the British government launched Operation Grange, a metropolitan police review of the case. Detectives pored over thousands of documents, re-interviewed witnesses, and re-examined evidence. They identified several new persons of interest, including known burglars who had been active in the area. A major breakthrough appeared to come in 2020, when German prosecutors named Christian Barskaner, a convicted sex offender with a history of child abuse, as a prime suspect. Barskaner had lived in the Algarve at the time of Madeleine's disappearance. He was already serving a prison sentence in Germany for unrelated crimes. Investigators claimed to have evidence suggesting he was responsible, though details were sparse. Barskaner denied involvement, and as of now, no charges have been filed in connection with Madeleine's case. Through it all, the McCanns have continued to fight for answers. Their campaign, Find Madeleine, remains active, raising funds and awareness. Each anniversary of her disappearance brings renewed appeals and fresh speculation. The impact of Madeleine's disappearance has been profound. It reshaped how holiday resorts and parents think about child safety. It exposed deep flaws in international cooperation between police forces. And it became a case study in the power and the dangers of media attention. Even today, more than a decade later, the question remains unresolved. Was Madeleine abducted by traffickers? Did she wander off into the night? Or, as some suspect, was there a darker truth closer to home? Theories abound, but evidence is scarce. What is clear is that Madeleine McCann's disappearance has left a scar on the world's conscience, a reminder of innocence lost and of the chilling reality that a child can vanish in an instant even from the safety of her bed. As the case remains officially open, police insist that the investigation is ongoing. Somewhere out there, they believe, lies the answer. What do you think happened? Leave your theory in the comments. Stay tuned for more uploads, like, comment, and subscribe.